All right, we now move on to the world of college football, where wasn't the biggest weekend as far as ranked on ranked action, but we did have two. We had a big noon contest where you saw Notre Dame defeat Wisconsin 41-13. I believe they had 31 points in the fourth quarter of that one in the the Jack Cohn revenge game, as I've heard it referred to. And then you had big win by Arkansas as they continue to on their mission to show that they're for real as they take down Texas A&M. I believe that one was 20-10. Another action in the prime time slot on ABC, you had Oklahoma win a nail biter. They beat West Virginia 16-13 on a late field goal. And then one of the major upsets of the day, NC State defeats Clemson 27-21. More trouble for the ACC. Drink, what stood out to you on this weekend of college football?
So let's go ahead and open up with something we was talking about at the end of the show on Saturday. Where do we put Wisconsin now? Because remember we was talking about, Wisconsin gonna get that game later in the year. I forgot, was it against Iowa? I think it was against Iowa that we was talking about. And that we was like, that game gonna let us know something. No,
we're talking about Michigan, yeah.
It was Michigan, okay. And we was like, that game gonna let us know something when Michigan play Wisconsin. And what I say, if they lose to Notre Dame, I don't know about all that.
Right.
And now I'm just like, I don't know about all that. Like Wisconsin had two cracks at two ranked teams at a prime time location, and they have not performed. 13 points? And then how many points did they have against Penn State in week one? Like,
not a lot.
I don't want to hear nothing else about Wisconsin. we done with that boat. We done with that boat. So I just want to make sure I say that. I don't give a rat's. I don't care who else they play. We're done with Wisconsin. Like, even they would have to go out and just blow the doors off. Oh, they already lost to Penn State. So, like I said, and I don't think they beat Iowa either. So I think Wisconsin is dead in the water. Over to number 12 Notre Dame. This game was a ranked matchup. It was played on a neutral site field, the Shamrock Classic or whatnot. The Jack Cohn, bowl, used to be the quarterback of Wisconsin. They left him for the kids' Mercs, so they sent him to pack into the transfer portal, and he ended up in Notre Dame where he takes over for the incumbent Ian Book. Okay. I don't feel no different about Notre. Let me tell you something. I'm dying to see the result of Notre Dame versus Cincinnati now, because I think that result would be a better result than what I seen in Wisconsin. Wisconsin can't score the ball. They cannot score the ball on any team that matters. Yeah, if they playing Southern Connecticut State, okay, they can probably throw a 70 on them. But when they come back down to Division I and actually play a team, this is what you get, 13 points. So I don't want to hear anything else about the Badger hype. I'm done with that. Arkansas and Texas A&M. Arkansas fans, I owe you an apology. I really didn't think. I thought Texas A&M recruited well enough. I thought Jimbo Fisher was kind of catching his stride as a coach, a SEC coach. And I really felt like Texas A&M was going to have a little too much talent, a little too much depth to win this game. Boy, was I wrong, because that quarterback for Texas A&M sucks. Oh, my God. He was awful. I mean, for all the talent they got around this kid, the offensive line didn't blow you away. But, golly, you got a stable of running backs. You got some wide receivers, Anais Smith, etc. And Jimbo, you lose one quarterback and you gonna get the water boy? Like, that guy was, holy crap. Texas A&M in real trouble, folks. If it weren't for their defensive line, this game could have got out of control. It really could have. That defensive line kept them in there. Because that offense ain't, listen, I'm sorry. I ain't gonna say that offense ain't it. That quarterback ain't it. And that offensive line ain't it. But to Arkansas's credit, let me tell you what is it. Their physicality. Arkansas has been one of the most physical teams in the SEC as of up to this point. Texas got the smoke, and now Arkansas about to be walking around Texas like, hey, what's up, TCU? You want something too? Like, they out here, they might just own the whole state of Texas by the time the season is over. But Great win by Arkansas. Great win by Sam Pittman. Arkansas is for real. They're a top 10 team now. Now we're gonna get into that on Friday. they got some real deal coming up on the schedule on Saturday. But kudos to them. I think Arkansas is probably right now the fourth best team in the SEC. I got to put them behind Alabama and Georgia, of course. I don't know if they could quite beat Florida right now. I think I had to put Florida in front of them, but everybody else is free game. That's free game, everybody else. I think Arkansas going to hand out L's to everybody else in the SEC outside of those three teams. But listen, that was a great game. I thought physically-wise it lived up to the hype, but holy, Jimbo Fisher. Man, you better hit that transfer portal. I mean, I guess you couldn't get a quarterback to play right now even if you wanted to, but God almighty. And then number 4, Oklahoma and West Virginia. I gotta come up to. Let me go ahead and come up to the realization. Oklahoma is just not good. Spencer Rattler. This guy for all this Heisman hype, I haven't seen a damn thing yet out of him. It seemed like the Oklahoma fans are clamoring for Caleb Williams, the number 1 overall recruit from the last cycle. But I would say this, Oklahoma fans. Do you not think Lincoln Riley know what he's doing? I mean, the guy had 3 straight Heisman finalist quarterbacks, 2 of which won. I think he know what he's doing. I think it's a reason why Caleb Williams is not playing over Spencer Rattler. Even though I'm not enamored with Spencer Rattler either. But I do think Lincoln Riley, for everything I said about him coaching in the bright lights, I do think he's smart enough to know which quarterback should be starting. So I'm gonna throw that out there. NC State and Clemson. Jay, is it about time we go ahead and say, yeah, Clemson, the old heyday of them being challengers to Alabama, that's done this year, right? At least this year, that's done.
I think we can definitely put that on hold for right now because they're done. They're done for this season.
And with that said, and my overall arching point, I want to tie this into when I watch Clemson lose and I watch Oklahoma struggle, and I watch all these teams that's supposed to be the next coming after Alabama, and yet it's still Alabama, it's still Alabama. You got to put some respect on Nick's name, man. It's hard to do this year in and year out. Let me tell you something. Clemson is what you would characterize as a bad team this year. Give me the last time you characterized Alabama since Nick Saban been there a bad team. Like, bad. Not even in the top 25, bad.
I don't remember that being the case since Nick Saban's been there.
I mean, it's 2 years that you could probably stick out, like 2011 when we played like Michigan State in the Capital One Orange Bowl. Mm-hmm. That season, that's not even a bad season because I think we was like 10-2 or 10-3. But that season, and then 2 years ago, 2019, when we ended up playing Michigan in the Verbio Bowl, that was considered a bad season for Bama. We was 10-2.
Yeah, so, I think your larger point that I would say is like you don't see Alabama lose games against average to barely above average football teams in the SEC. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, this Clemson losing to NC State would be like Alabama losing to Tennessee. Okay. Yes. So, you get what I'm saying? Or Mississippi State at this particular point, and they're right. Kind of a little less on par with what we're seeing. But I think you're right. And this is something I remember, and I know you remember it very well, when Clemson beat Alabama 44-16, I believe it was, when in Trevor Lawrence's freshman year. That was considered like, oh, this is the beginning of the end. We're going to see Clemson rise up and take over. Right. And that just hasn't happened. It's been, and I hope people who said that should they should find a mirror and just take a good hard look, because they got that one absolutely wrong. And I think I've been fairly consistent, because I thought that was just overplayed and drawn out and just an overall bad take. And Alabama's, they've came back with a vengeance, won the title last year, and they appear to be the best team in football, in college football right now. it looked like Georgia is no doubt clearly the second best team. But after that, I think there's a significant gap right now between Bama and Georgia. And I think after Georgia, there's a huge margin. I think those are your two best teams. I don't think there's any question about it. Um, and just in regards to what happened this weekend, yeah, Wisconsin, go ahead and fold them up and put them in the closet because it's about it. I don't, and I'm not pleased about this because I like Wisconsin. I like their program. I like the way they go about their business. Very physical football team. I think Paul Chris is a good coach, but it just ain't working out this year. And now unfortunately we are going to have to put on hold whether we think Michigan's good or not because either way, no matter what happens next week. And by the way, they weren't that great against Rutgers. They beat Rutgers by like what, a touchdown. So there go to question marks already written. But if you beat Wisconsin, like we said last week, if you beat Wisconsin and they lost to Notre Dame and they didn't just lose, they got beat down. So if they beat Wisconsin, we still gonna have some question marks. But if you lose, then we just gonna be like, oh, pull the fire alarm on Michigan. They not real. Arkansas, gotta take your hats off to them. That was a little bit of a point of contention, I think, on last week's show. I know you were pretty. I know you felt good about Texas A&M, and I think rightfully so. Rightfully so, considering the way they're able to recruit, and you felt like that. If you got a backup quarterback, well, so what? You got all this great talent around him. Surely you can overcome that. I think Arkansas, you got to give them a lot of credit, even though it was against the backup quarterback. I think you got them pegged about right, maybe about fourth in there. Maybe Ole Miss and them kind of alongside each other as of right now.
Yeah,
the SEC's fun right now. You got, what is that? I'm looking at 5 teams in the top 12, maybe. Yeah, you got 4 in the top 10, and you have Ole Miss sitting at 12. A&M still at 15. Auburn still, with the back end of the top 25. So the SEC's, definitely on the strength of the top half of their conference. But they're outperforming everybody right now. In regards to some of the other action you mentioned, yeah, you say Oklahoma's not good. They're not that impressive. That's how I define it. When you look at a team that's been carrying the water for the Big 12 for the past several years, they seemingly slide into the 4th spot of the college football playoff most of the time. This ain't gonna get it done, man. This is just. You beating.
They scored 16 points.
Yeah. That's not
West Virginia,
and that's not Oklahoma football. That's not Big 12 football either. Like, since when we start playing defense? What is that? Like, backed by popular demand? No, not really. I think most people are comfortable with how the Big 12 plays at this point. But you're just looking at Oklahoma and you say, oh, you barely beat Tulane. Then you beat some nobody by what? You beat them 76-0, but no one cares because it was, we don't even know who it was. It was, what was it, Bishop Sycamore or something. Then you beat Nebraska by a touchdown, and you beat West Virginia by 3. So in the 3 games where you didn't play a fake high school team, you won by a grand total of, what is that, 15 points? Oklahoma's setting themselves up to where I don't think they'll be able to survive a loss. Or else, like, it'll be tough to get in with a loss because you need those style points when you play in a conference that's a little bit suspect right now. Because think about the rest of them. We got Iowa State, a team that was ranked in the top 10. They can't figure their crap out. So they over here, they didn't slid out the rankings because they lost to, who did they lose to? I don't think they lost to somebody that was that good either. Oh, they lost to Baylor. But Baylor was unranked. So, and the games they've won haven't been impressive. So I think the Big 12's in a little bit of world trouble. I don't think, obviously, if Oklahoma wins all their games, they would get in. But no, year in and year out, there's always one game where they like slip up, whether it's against Kansas State, whether it's against Iowa State. We don't know who it could be against, but they don't appear to be a team that's going to win all their games because they're not playing that well right now.
I'm gonna tell you like this though: Oklahoma can go undefeated, but they better hope Notre Dame don't go undefeated. I'm telling you right now. If Notre Dame go undefeated, I got a strong chance that Notre Dame gonna get put in the playoffs over the Big 12.
Could be.
I think Oklahoma gonna lose a game first and foremost. I think Oklahoma got a good chance of losing to Texas. But if they don't, and they sleeping on Notre Dame, I heard this the other day, and I was like, dang, that's a fact. Notre Dame is an automatic bid team. Like, they're not a conference, but
if you win every game, yeah.
If they go undefeated, they're automatic in. I don't give a rip how you feel about their schedule. None of that. Notre Dame is just like the SEC and just like the Big Ten. You know, maybe the ACC and the rest of them, but they're just like those conferences where if they go undefeated, gone pencil them in. So teams like Oklahoma and a couple of other teams that's kind of just flailing around, you better keep that in mind. Because as Notre Dame keep doing what they doing, hey, could be some friction.
As far as you talk about the Big 12 not being that impressive. The ACC is by far the most flatline Power 5 conference right now. Clemson dropped 16 spots after losing that game. They just packed them into the 25th spot and said, just leave them there. We're putting them at the very end of the line. You play around for another week, we're getting you out of here. And then they threw who they threw. They got NC State at 23, Wake Forest at 24. That's it. They put 3 ACC teams at the back of the line and said, that's it. We're not letting anybody else in here. The daggone bouncers about to start throwing people out that start trying to keep coming in here. But the ACC just is not good right now. The teams that we thought that was good, we got North Carolina getting beat up by Georgia Tech. That's just, that's a travesty in itself. Clemson can't beat NC State. I will say the Atlantic appears to be a little bit better than we thought it was. You have NC State, you have Wake Forest. They look pretty good right now. Boston College is undefeated. Don't want to, we'll see how they do once they get into conference play. But I think the ACC by far is the biggest loser among conferences right now.